Manchester Evening News are reporting that United are targeting at least 10 departures in the summer. It's music to my ears. However, the cynic in me has a few things to say about the idea because, truth be told, this is a conversation we have had every summer for years without it ever happening properly. Let me explain what I mean. Let's be totally honest, right? We have been speaking about proper clear-outs, getting rid of the deadwood, for so long as United fans. And I don't really think any summer has ever fully lived up to the expectation of what a clear-out could be. That has to change this summer. It can change this summer. I want to speak about why I'm genuinely optimistic of this summer being that clear-out. Of course, I was optimistic before, but I want to explain it, all right? I want to run through a few years of evidence as to why we all are cynics as United fans when we look at this. And you can let me know in the comments, how many do you think United will actually let go of? Because the suggestion is that United want to target at least 10 departures. 10 first-team players. Now, it's quite easy before because you've got Eriksen and Lindelof who are both going to leave on free transfers and Tom Heaton and Johnny Evans who are going to retire. So that's 4 done already, 40%, without having to send anybody. But the cynic in me looks at this, right? Rewind to last summer. Man United are preparing a huge summer transfer clear-out. Maguire, Casemiro, Varane at risk. And who'd left? Well, Varane left on a free. McTominay was the biggest sale. Casemiro stayed. Who else on that list? Maguire stayed. It wasn't the huge clear-out that we wanted. We go to the summer before. United are willing to sell 13 players in £260 million clear-out. Maguire's there, he's still here. Sancho's there, he's still here. Martial, who left on a free. Did Martial leave on a free that summer? I can't remember. Anyway, the biggest sale that we had that summer was Dean Henderson going to Crystal Palace for 17 million. And we made a grand total of 58 million euros in sales. Hardly the full-scale clear-out. We go to the season before. United could rake in a staggering 240 million by offloading 16 players. The biggest sale that we made that summer was James Garner for 10 million euros to Everton, as we made a grand total of 23 million euros. Wah, wee wah. Hardly the full-scale clear-out at any point. And that's the best one that we've had was last summer, right? We made over 100 million. I've already sort of spoken about this quite a lot. Last summer was probably our best transfer window in terms of ins and outs that we've had in a long time. But it still wasn't enough. We need more of those. And this summer, I'm going to run through the list here, right? 10 departures doesn't seem outrageous to me. The idea of 10 departures. Look, right. You've got Tom Heaton. He's going to be retiring. There's 1. Victor Lindelof. He's going to be leaving on a free. There's 2. Mazraoui be staying. Delict, I think Maguire's going to stay 1 more year. He's going to sign that. Has he already signed that contract? Can't remember. Malacia leaving on loan. That's 3. Who else we got down here? Luke Shaw. I think the club would like to move him on, but let's find out. Johnny Evans. That's 4. You can't put Luke Shaw down because we're probably going to be lumbered with Luke Shaw because of his wages and his injury records. So that's 4 up to Johnny Evans. Christian Eriksen, 5. Casemiro, 6. Questionable whether we can get him with the same sort of reason as Luke Shaw. Might be lumbered with his wages, but in an ideal world, Casemiro 6. You go down here. Rashford, 7. Anthony, 8. Sancho, 9. Well, there's 9. Does Ethan Wheatley leaving on loan or a permanent deal count as 10? I don't really know. Garnacho, maybe. Napoli coming back in. Who else could you go up here and include? And you could include Luke Shaw if you want, and that would be 10. Either way, me looking at this, sure, it's optimistic. Because history will tell me that United fans are sold the idea of a massive, massive clear-out that ends up being a bit of a half job. We can't have a half job this summer. If there was ever a summer, I know I've said this before, but if there was ever a summer for United to get it right, it feels like this should be the one. Because we've got different people in charge. You've got Chris Favell, who's involved in the recruitment side of things, the bringing in the talents, the Aiden Heavens, the Patrick Dorgus. That's Chris Favell's job. Jason Wilcox, what he is tasked with now is changing the narrative on United. It's not about United selling players for less than they are worth. Well, that's part of it, let's be honest. Like, even if you go to the latest summer here, I think McTominay was probably worth a little bit more than that. Greenwood, we got a massive, I think, 50% sell on of any profits in the future. Wan-Bissaka was Well, that was Wan-Bissaka out and Mazraoui in for kind of net zero, so not too offended by that. But Willy Cambuela for that cheap, Hannibal for that cheap, Pellistri for that cheap, Fernandes for that cheap. That's going to be something that Wilcox has to work on. Bringing in more money for the players that we sell, but even more so is being able to sell the players that previously we have not been able to sell. And I'm looking at Luke Shaw. I'm looking at Casemiro. I'm looking at Rashford, and I'm looking at Anthony. They're 4 players on massive, massive wages at Manchester United, right? You can focus on anybody if you want. Let's just focus on... I think Casemiro would be a very good example to focus on. And I don't mean this to just in an offensive. I think he's actually playing pretty damn well right now. But at the age of Casemiro, with the wages that he is on, this is a summer where Manchester United have to shake Casemiro's hand and move him on. Whereas previously, when we have tried that, we haven't found any buyers. We haven't found anybody who wants to buy that player. And this is a policy that will be shifted in time, because with the younger signings that we are going for and the better wage structure, if a player comes in a couple of years down the line, it's not quite working out. He's not going to be 30, 32 on 300 grand a week. He's going to be 24 on very fair wages. So you won't struggle to find a buyer. And that's just a big shift that has to happen. But this summer, for Ruben Amorim, look, are United any different under Ineos and under Amorim than we have been under the Glazers and Ten Hag or Ragnick or Solskjaer or anything that's been before? We will find that out truly in the market, in the transfer market, in recruitment, and in United actually, genuinely being ruthless. And that means Marcus Rashford leaving. That means Anthony leaving, and finding clubs for both of these players. And if that means that United are going to have to, I don't know, pay part of their wages even in a permanent deal just to get it, I don't know if that works. If it means United taking a slightly reduced fee to offset the fact that those wages are too big, then so be it. Whatever it is to get these players off the books and allow us to start fresh, we have to do it. It can't be a summer where we just find ourselves at the start of next season with 2, maybe 3 players on hugely inflated wages that we don't really want, that Amorim doesn't really want, but that we couldn't find any buyers for. There's so many examples of this in the past, right? I just don't want any more of them. And if there is going to be a summer, it has to be this one, please, for the love of God. We've had semi-clear-outs before. I ran through this one. Last season was the best one that we've had in a while. This one, I want that to be more towards 200 million euros than 100 million euros. Sorry. I just want United to make more money from sales this summer and shift more players on than we have in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Set a precedent with this summer, with the players leaving, and set a tone for what's coming. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think it will happen? Will this clear out that we've been promised for so many years finally actually happen this summer?